And David Duchovny is in the film, and he's shirtless. He's in great shape. So did you have to convince him to go shirtless?
I'm not your father.
I'm looking for my father.
Please, God, make it so that you had a good reason to leave me. Please.
Adam the First. What a lovely film. It was really riveting, thanks to your lead star, Oaks Fegley. So you really had to find the right actor because it all relies on him,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it you know, you I think he's probably in almost every shot, almost every shot. So you really got to make sure you have someone that can carry it, and Oaks certainly could. He was fantastic.
Now it's sort of a road movie, not your typical road movie, but he
Yeah.
sets off on a kind of on a journey to find his father.
Yeah.
Was this a personal film? The plot did you know somebody who kind of had that personal journey?
So I no, I wasn't I didn't go through anything like this, nor was it based on anyone's life. But it's a very personal film nonetheless. I think um, I talk about this a lot. This is a movie where, I wanted to take a genre, the hero's journey, that's as old as storytelling itself, and bring something personal to it, and in that way celebrate something that is timeless and classic, but at the same time very fresh and personal to me. Um, and so, it deals with a lot of things that I wonder about, a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, um, a lot of pain, insecurity, wonder, all of that I think is um, connected to what it is to be a person in general. And so in that way, it's very personal to me, but I think it's also very timeless stuff and human things that we're dealing with in this movie. And so um, yeah, it's fictional, but it's very, very personal and real to me.
And David Duchovny is in the film. It's great to see him. We don't see him as often.
Yeah, we should see more of him. He's fantastic.
Yeah, and he's shirtless. He's in great shape. So did you have to convince him to go shirtless, or he like in the character he did
He
not want to
was
put on a shirt?
he was willing to do it. He was willing to do it. He's a good sport about it.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of wink wink thing that we would laugh about, that we got him to take off his shirt. But um, the tattoos and everything that we had going on for the character, it adds a certain mystique, and they're living off the grid. So I guess we earned it. But yeah, he's a great sport about
Yeah, because there's a joke in the movie like, "Don't you ever put on a shirt?"
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And was it easy or difficult to move? There are different scenarios, different scenes, because these obviously it's a road movie, so it's
Mhm.
an independent film. Is it more difficult or easier because you're moving and it's mostly take place outdoors?
Right. Well, that's the thing. There's a little bit of movie magic there because you're going to all these different locations, but you try to find a place um, that has a great range of terrain, more or less in one area,
Right.
so that you get the sense that you're traveling cross country or going on a really, really long adventure. But in truth, all these locations are within an hour of each other. So, Jackson, Mississippi was magical in that way. It had that great range. You needed the swampland, the junkyards, the farmland, the,
Hmm.
the canyon, the different, classic Americana locations, and you have all that there. And you get this sense that you're traveling across the country, or at least a great distance,
Yeah.
but it's all kind of close together. You need
Right.
that when you're making an indie. You don't really have the budget to actually, move the whole camp.
So did you kind of rebel filmmaking, or did you have to do like the proper steps as far as like permitting and all that stuff?
Uh, we took proper steps on this one, especially because we were shooting in the pandemic, and you had to make sure that everyone was
Oh.
safe and keeping healthy. So there's a lot of logistical considerations there. So we we were certainly scrappy, certainly independent, doing a lot with very little, but taking all the necessary steps.
No, I mean, it looked great. It looked professional, but I can just see somebody just like an actor and a camera and some
Yeah,
lighting,
yeah,
go off and film this adventure because it just feels so down to earth and grounded.
yeah,
No fancy sets, just Mother Nature and natural
exactly.
settings, right?
Exactly. Listen, you do a lot of more dressing than you think when you're outdoors, but it's part of the beauty of it is these locations. They speak for themselves a lot of the time.
Hmm. And what would you say was the biggest hurdle? I mean, obviously the pandemic was a hurdle, but what other maybe day or scene?
Right, right. The pandemic really was a big one. That was a tough one, shutting down and not knowing if we were going to get our financing back and pushing through nonetheless, that was tough. Um, was there anything else? Um,
Weather was weather the weather
Weather, a little bit, nothing crazy.
mhm.
Actually, the weather in Mississippi is really cool. It changes within the day. You could be in, you could have toe warmers and, warmers in your gloves in the morning, and then by the afternoon you're passing around suntan lotion in the canyon. It was incredible. You had flurries in the morning sometimes, shooting before the sun comes up, and then later in the day you're in t-shirts. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's some beautiful places in that state that,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, if do some parts look like the Monument Valley or the Grand Canyon kind of deal. I was like, where are they?
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't think, but
Hmm.
yeah, you have a cool range of styles there.
And I want to ask about the House on Wheels. I thought it was that was so cool.
I
Uh,
appreciate that.
that was
Yeah.
very funny and cool at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, to me that was like the peak of the movie's magical realism and levity, and I was really excited about that, doing that for a long time. So to finally get that done was cool.
And did you actually, how did you work that out? Like, you had to go find I mean, I know I've
So
seen them move those homes before, but
yeah, it was a little bit of little. Sorry, my dog's in the background.
that's okay.
Um,
Can't hear.
um, little bit of movie magic, a little bit of, there was a real house. There was certainly a truck driving on a real road, and there was real footage of a canyon. How that all came together, I think, is where the movie magic comes in.
I was wondering, like, that seems like a big task
Yeah, yeah.
to
We
take.
explored doing it a lot of different ways. We
Hmm.
ultimately did it with some fun old school tricks.
Mm. Yeah, and that ending really like, whoa, thank God, because you want to stick through the whole movie to see what happens.
Mhm.
That's kind of the drive, right? I mean, also in the actor, he's riveting, so like you want to watch because he's a bit of an outlaw, right? Like you're surprised like at what he knows and what to do. He's 14 years old.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. You know, I needed an actor that could carry that duality to him, where on the one hand, he's tender and human and very much a young kid who's overwhelmed by the world, but at the same time very 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 capable and kind of a badass and can can handle his own. And so that duality in the character is something that we needed to strike a delicate balance for, and Oaks is great like that.
And what I like is the payoff at the end. Everything kind of comes together, right? When you find out the
Yep.
answers, right? It's like,
Yes,
hence the
yes,
name of the movie.
yes, yes. That's true. That's true. P.T. Anderson has this rule about the saddest happy ending possible. The best endings I think are just that. They're the saddest happy ending possible. Something that feels like it gives closure and rounds out the story in a satisfying way, but that is also grounded in something realistic and human and slightly tragic. That's because that's life. It's never
Mhm.
one or the other.
Yeah, and you're left with like, oh, I want a sequel
I
to see what happens because you leave it off like, oh, okay, we get all our answers.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
what,
yeah.
right?
Then it's yours to fill in.
And what I like about indie movies that they don't map everything out, right? Like, your blockbuster films, like you can see things coming from a mile away, right?
Yeah,
But here
yeah,
we
yeah,
kind of get answers, little by little, like you figure out what David Duchovny was, like, oh,
yeah,
and
yeah,
how this 14-year-old can become self-sufficient by himself.
exactly. Yeah, I think that that's a big compliment. I appreciate that. Thank you. If it's not predictable and you're still interested and engaged the whole time, then we've done our job.
Because the hitter's journey is all about discovery, right? Like little things that you discover along the way.
Exactly.
All right, and tell us where we can find the movie.
So you should be able to rent it on all transactional VOD platforms. So um, go out and rent it. You know, Amazon and Apple and all the other classic platforms. It'll be there for you. And tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Well, congratulations. I feel like this is like the filmmaking movie, because
Wow.
it's like all the elements of how you make a film. It's like your first film. This is your third feature film, right?
This is my second. This is
Or
my
your
second.
second. But it feels like very raw. I think like
Yeah.
music, when bands start out, they're very raw, and then they get poppy, then they get mainstream.
Right.
This,
It's got true grit.
right,
It's got a down to earth quality to it. Yeah.
right.
I hope I can retain that.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations. We'll hope to interview you for your next film.
Oh, I hope very soon.